What is this? Found in a location where there was a small religious community around the mid-1700s to 1800s. I found a buckle and a door hinge nearby as well. This is a blade from a segmented or finger mower, also known as the sickle bar mower blade. What we see, a flat metal part with a trapezoidal shape and two holes for fasteners, is a characteristic feature of a knife from a mower. Transverse notches along the beveled sides are teeth for cutting grass, which interact with fixed fingers. The size and shape are exactly the same as the element of a mechanical reaper or mower used on horse-drawn or early tractor-powered machines. Historical context. These blades were used in agriculture since the mid-19th century and were widely used until the 20th century. The mower with segmental blades was a crucial tool on farms, especially for harvesting hay and crops. If religious settlements of the 18th and 19th centuries were located nearby, this may be related to the economic activities of the community. For example, Shakers, Mennonites, or Quakers in the United States often engaged in manual and mechanized rural labor, including using such mowers. Connection to other finds. A buckle and a door hinge found nearby indicate a former permanent settlement, possibly barns, outbuildings, or houses. Such a blade could have been lost or broken while working in the field and remained in the ground for centuries. Found in my grandparents' attic, it's quite ornate and surprisingly heavy for its size. I'm located in the USA. I'm wondering what exactly this is, whether it has any historical or decorative significance, and if it opens or serves a specific function. Any insights would be appreciated. This is a decorative antique fireplace jug or amphora vase in the style of French neoclassicism from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Such items were usually part of paired decorative sets that were placed on either side of a fireplace clock or sculpture. Details. Shape. A curved jug with a tall neck and rich decoration. Materials. The base is cast iron with a bronze or brass finish. The central part is velvet fabric, which is unusual and typical for decorative rather than functional objects. A handle, shaped with an amour putty, a characteristic motif of French Rococo and the Victorian era. Decor. Satyr heads, garlands, acanthus leaves, and ornamentation, typical elements of the Loyal 16 Revival or Second Empire style. A base. The many holes on the bottom suggest that the object was once screwed or fastened to a base, most likely a wooden shelf or pedestal. Purpose. This is not a container for storing liquid. It does not open, based on the internal appearance of the neck and the absence of a lid. Its main function is decorative. Most often, such vases were part of fireplace sets, two on either side of the clock, decorative compositions on sideboards and consoles, and furniture sets in the homes of wealthy people in the late 19th century, especially in the United States, France, and England. Similarity. The last image shows a similar set with a fireplace clock and two decorative jugs. This confirms that your item is part of a set designed in the spirit of the rich interior fashion of the past. Conclusion. You are holding an antique decorative amphora vase, probably made between 1880 and 1930. It was used exclusively as an interior element in wealthy homes and mansions. If there is a second one in the house, this is a rare opportunity to restore the historical composition. Did you find a gun butt on the beach? My nephew found this on the beach. He thinks it's a washed-up gun butt, and he's very excited about it. He'd appreciate any information anyone might have. It really looks like the butt of a rifle, heavily weathered and damaged by time. Found on a beach, it has probably been exposed to water and sunlight for a long time, which explains its grayish-brown, almost rocky appearance. The piece is well preserved enough to reveal the outline of the rifle's butt, and most notably, it features a metal ring with a loop, a common feature on military rifles. What indicates that this is a stock? The shape is characteristic of the butt of a rifle. It expands towards the shoulder, narrows towards the neck, and curves. The metal lash is an old type of belt attachment that was used on military rifles from the late 19th century to the mid-20th century, e.g., Springfield, Mauser, Mosin-Nagant. The size and scale are consistent with the rear part of a full-size military rifle. Condition. The tree is heavily eroded, the surface is smoothed out. Perhaps it is a stained tree that has lain in the water for decades. The iron fastener was rusted, but it was preserved. This suggests that the find is not modern, but probably from the time of the Second World War or earlier. What could it be? The butt of a military rifle that was lost or thrown into the sea. The possible part of a weapon lost during exercises, transportation, or even discarded after disposal. If found in an area where there were military exercises or bases, it is quite possible. If you want to find out the exact model, take measurements, length, width of the back of the head and distance from the end to the lash. Try to clean the metal and see if there is any thread or fasteners left. I just moved into a new apartment and found this razor blade disposal slot inside the bathroom medicine cabinet. Why did people use these, and where do the blades go? This is a built-in hole for disposing of used razor blades, which is typical for old medicine cabinets in the United States, especially in homes built between 1920 and 1970. Under the label "Drop Used Razor Blades Here," translated as "Drop Used Razor Blades Here," there is a narrow slot that leads directly into the wall. How it worked: after shaving, a person would remove the dull blade from their safety razor and drop it into this slot. The blade fell inside the wall, where it accumulated over time in the cavity between the drywall or tile and the exterior cladding. Why was this done? It was safe. The blades were not thrown into the trash, where they could injure someone. It was convenient. It did not require separate disposal or containers. It was a standard practice. In some homes, the builders had already provided a niche in the bathroom. An interesting fact: in older houses, during major renovations, entire blade cemeteries are often found inside the walls, sometimes with hundreds or even thousands of blades lying beneath the hole. This element is an interesting relic of a time when safety and hygiene were addressed in simple and permanently hidden ways. What kind of rock is this, and is it poisonous? My grandparents gave me these rocks in the early 1990s when I was a kid and told me they're poisonous. Don't lick them. I've kept them in this container since today. The label I wrote said they're sulfur oxide, but after Google ING for pictures of matching rocks, it looks more like orpiment, which is said to be poisonous due to their high arsenic content. Can any of you scholars identify this rock? Was it a bad idea to take them out of the case and photograph them in the open air? Yes, I've refrained from licking them. The photo shows the mineral rengar, less commonly ora pigment, both of which are arsenic sulfides, which has a distinctive golden yellow color with a silky or glassy sheen. It can be easily confused with other toxic minerals that contain arsenic. This stone is indeed poisonous. It is an arsenic sulfide, a substance that has been known since ancient times and has been used as a pigment, but is now recognized as being harmful to health. The danger is not only from particles that come into contact with the skin, but especially from dust that can be accidentally inhaled when working with the stone. What is important to know: do not allow dust to enter the respiratory system. Do not touch with bare hands. Use gloves. Do not store with other minerals, especially in a living space. Wash hands after any contact, mandatory. Do not allow children or animals. Despite its toxicity, this mineral remains a subject of interest for collectors, provided that strict precautions are taken. If you are unsure about the exact identification, it is advisable to consult a specialist or a mineralogical museum with a sample. It is best to store such samples in an airtight container, away from heat and light sources, to prevent degradation or evaporation. A strange thing left by my grandmother: we were visiting my friend's family home in the Åland Islands, Finland, and found this item while sorting through old boxes. The inscription on the pen reads, "The Åland Bank," where her grandmother worked in the 1960s and 1980s. No other markings were found. It is evident that this is a workplace gift, but we cannot determine its intended purpose. Maybe a weaving tool? This item is an egg boiling stand, most commonly used in pots. The design, with holes, is designed to keep the eggs upright during boiling. The three legs provide stability, while the metal arcs on top make it easy to remove the stand from hot water. These egg boiling stands were popular in Europe during the mid-20th century, particularly as corporate souvenirs. This particular piece, for example, bears the engraving of Ålandsbanken, where the owner's grandmother may have worked. This confirms that the item was a gift or promotional artifact of the bank. Practical, but with a stylistic accent. Such devices were often used in homes with limited space, instead of a full-fledged steamer or electric appliances. Today, they have become rare and are of interest as vintage kitchen accessories. Metal object with a W found while digging a hole to plant a tree in the yard. The greenish weathering suggests it's copper. Found in removed dirt. Final hole depth was about 1.5 feet. No water lines were present. Given the suburban location, cattle branding seems unlikely, though the area does have a ranching history. You have found an old brand, a metal stamp used to brand livestock. On its working surface, the letter W is clearly visible, which indicates a personal or ranch brand used to indicate ownership. Such brands were actively used to mark cows, bulls, and horses, especially in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, in private ranches and farms, where each family or farm had its own unique letter, sometimes used for temporary marking when selling or transporting animals. Also found in military and government services that brand service animals the characteristic patina, greenish bloom, suggests that the object is made of copper or bronze. These are practical materials that retain heat well and are suitable for branding. It was probably heated in the fire and pressed against the animal's skin, leaving a mark of the letter. The size and shape, compact, handheld, suggests that it was used on small or young livestock, such as sheep, goats, or foals, where larger brands would have been excessive. The shallow depth and precise craftsmanship indicate that the brand was not used en masse but rather selectively, perhaps on a private farm. You have unearthed more than just a piece of metal. You have discovered a fragment of the living history of a farming era where every animal had its own mark, and the letter on the brand held more significance than just W. Mysterious wooden box, 25 by 10 by 10 centimeters, with compass, wires, and attached copper plate inside. You are holding a unique scientific artifact in your hands, a mirror galvanometer, hidden in a wooden box. This is not just a compass with wires, but a high-precision device of the late 19th, early 20th century for measuring the weakest electrical currents. What is it? Mirror galvanometer, a supersensitive current meter. Inside, a tiny mirror attached to a magnetic needle. When the current passes through the winding, the needle turns slightly, and the mirror reflects a beam of light on the scale, amplifying even the slightest movement. How it works: the magnetic needle is suspended on a thread. The electric current creates a magnetic field, causing the needle to rotate. The light beam reflected from the mirror shows the deviation on the scale. It allows you to see even minimal currents. Features of the find: a wooden case with a compartment for wires, a copper plate inside for shielding or stabilization. The compass is a sensitive current indicator. Terminals for connecting to circuits or devices. Where it was used: in universities and laboratories. When laying telegraph lines. In early experiments with biotopes, heart, nerves. Receipt output: this device is not just an antique box, but a genuine tool from the age of discovery. It reflects a time when scientists were first learning to see electricity through light, mirrors, and human ingenuity. 10-wheel vehicles being transported on the highway. The photo shows 10-wheel tracked chassis being transported on a highway trailer. These aren't classic tanks or construction vehicles, but modular platforms for heavy autonomous or remote-controlled systems. What it is: these are versatile tracked bases, designed to carry various equipment, from military modules to drilling rigs and systems for extreme environments, swamps, snow, deserts. Their open frame reveals a powerful internal combustion engines or compact hydraulics and cooling systems, a protective mesh over components, and no cabin, suggesting remote control or further assembly. Why it's notable: 10 wheels per side equals high load capacity for rough terrain. The angular design and reinforced structure suggest military or rescue use are ideal as a base for radar units, weapon systems, cargo platforms, or research modules. Possible uses: military engineering or unmanned armored vehicles, a logging or geological exploration machines, Arctic transport, built for snow and swamps, are experimental platforms for robotics and autonomy testing. Conclusion: what you're seeing isn't just equipment in transit, it's a glimpse of next-gen off-road technology. These tracked platforms are built for harsh environments, and their open, cabin-less design signals a modular or specialized role, possibly military, industrial, or research-oriented. Found this old helmet in my grandfather's attic. What could it be? Hello, everyone. I was going through old things in my grandfather's attic and found this steel helmet. It looks quite old and heavy, like a military helmet. It has an unfinished edge, not bent, and there are 2 ventilation holes on the sides. There seems to be a faint stamp inside, but it's almost illegible. This is the M42 helmet, a German steel helmet from World War II. It can be identified by the following features. The trimmed edge, without a curve, is a characteristic feature of the M42 model, which replaced the M35 and M40 models. The ventilation holes are stamped, rather than having separate sleeves like earlier models. If there is a stamp with letters and numbers inside, for example, CKL64 or ET66, this is the manufacturer's code and size. Such helmets were used by the Wehrmacht from 1942 until the end of the war. Due to the simplification of production during the war, the M42 was made as simply and quickly as possible, without decorative trim, often without emblems and even with rough painting. If the helmet is original, it may be of collector's value, especially if the lining or leather strap has been preserved. If you can, add a photo of the inside and the stamp, so we can make a more accurate determination. This is a great find, and it looks like your grandfather had a real piece of history. What is this? It is right next to my beach blanket on the sand. The photo shows a horseshoe crab, Limulus polyphemus, one of the oldest creatures on the planet. It is often referred to as a living fossil because it has existed in almost its current form for around 450 million years, long before the emergence of dinosaurs. Despite its resemblance to a crab, the horseshoe crab is more closely related to spiders and scorpions than to true crabs. The body is covered with a strong shell, and the long tail spike, telson, is used not for attack, but for turning over if the animal is on its back. These animals live in shallow marine waters and regularly wash up on beaches during the breeding season. An interesting fact is that the blood of the swordtail is blue and contains a special substance that is used in medical tests to detect bacterial toxins. Because of this, swordtails play an important role in modern medicine, especially in testing vaccines and medical equipment. Despite their intimidating appearance, scorpions are completely safe for humans and are not poisonous. Dear friends, now it's your turn. I'm showing you this mysterious object, and you must write the correct answer in the comments. Whoever answers correctly will be promoted to the next video. Random person entered my driveway with this wired device scanner that looks like a shovel. I'm kind of freaked out. This person entered my driveway and stood there reading his device and pointing it in weird directions at my car and my house late at night. The photo shows a person holding a device that looks like an antenna and a screen. This is very similar to the equipment used in the so-called relay attack on keyless entry cars. What it is, the shovel-shaped device is a high-sensitivity antenna. It picks up a signal from a key fob key inside the house. At the screen and the block in the hands are a repeater or amplifier that transmits the signal further to the car to trick the system into thinking that the key is nearby. Thus, an attacker can open and even start the car without having a physical key. This is called relay attack or keyless car theft, and it is one of the most common methods of stealing modern cars. How it works: 1. One person with an antenna approaches the house where the key is located. 2. The second person is at the car. 3. The device captures the signal from the key and retransmits it to the second unit near the car. 4. The car thinks that the key is nearby and opens or starts. Signs of an attack: suspicious behavior, late at night, purposefully pointing a device at a house and a car. An unusual antenna shape, large and flat, pointing towards the source of the signal. Or a screen with an interface, most likely a device with the function of analyzing and retransmitting frequencies. What to do? Keep your keys in an RFID blocking case or metal box. Turn off keyless access at night, if supported. Install a steering wheel lock. Use a surveillance camera with notification and recording. This is not a regular gadget or parking meter reader. It is a specialized device for stealing cars with keyless access. Weird mini train track on new hospital roof. This building is a year old, 10 stories. There are clearly doors that open and then tracks. They go the length of this side of the building, but stop when they hit a stairwell about a third around the corner. I thought maybe it was for a window cleaning system to lower down the sides, but it doesn't look as though the barrier at the very edge opens. There are locked gates, and this isn't really a patient area. The photos show a part of the roof of a modern building, a hospital, on which rails for a roof car facade maintenance system are installed. This is a specialized platform designed to move along the roof and down the facade of a building, usually for the purpose of window washing, maintenance, or visual inspections. How it works: the rails, roof car rails, serve as guides for a trolley or a powered carriage that can move along the edge of the roof. From this trolley, a cradle or a suspended cabin with employees, tools, or cleaning systems can be lowered. Such systems are especially common on high-rise buildings with hard-to-reach glass facades. A power supply for the installation is supplied through a moisture-proof power connector. In one of the photos it is there. This is an industrial CE connector, often used for temporary powerful connections. Why it is not just rails, the system is called roof car or building maintenance unit (BMU), and is part of the engineering infrastructure of buildings with 8+ floors. According to summitanker.com, this equipment must withstand wind, precipitation, and heavy loads, includes telemetry, stabilization, and braking, can be equipped with telescopic arms or cradles that can be lowered along the facade. In summary, this is not a train or an evacuation system. This is an infrastructure for the maintenance of high-rise building facades, especially glass ones, using a roof car, a trolley that moves along rails and lowers the system. It provides safety and access for workers who maintain the building's exterior surfaces. Thank you for watching. Write in the comments which items are unclear to you, and I will be happy to explain them. Please like and subscribe to the channel.